Greetings, Divines. Some of you may not know what's going on here, so let's dive into it. For centuries, African spiritual traditions and its diasporic branches have been intentionally misrepresented to create fear and division. These systems have indigenous medicines just like traditional Chinese medicine. There's energetic healing modalities like pranayama and yoga. Then there's the part that was used to create fear. This lied in how a people chose to remember their ancestors and their cosmological beliefs. But ancestral veneration is not native to Africa. It's found in indigenous cultures worldwide. So how do you move past these disempowering techniques? Education, community building, and cultural awareness for individuals and organizations. So as with all things, there's light and dark. You are the one who gets to decide where you reside. To the right, to the left, or both in the middle.
Every body of water, right? Everything that God made can be Loa. So when you ask a voodoo practitioner, how many Loa are there? They'll tell you like 119,000 plus one. Why do they always say plus one? Because we are not arrogant enough to believe that we have met everything God made. So we will say plus one to hold a space just for that thing that we have not seen or met that God created. We are not arrogant in our beliefs, right? They say we have songs and rituals. Well, nothing is more ritualized than Catholicism and voodoo.
Yeah.
I love a good ritual. Let's talk to God. I don't have a problem with it. And so, because we outnumbered them twice in this colony, or 3 times in this colony, we outnumbered white people. They would allow us to have this voodoo ritual on Sunday. Maria Laveau lived right around the corner, and she would enter this area somewhere around here with Zombie the snake and have a voodoo ceremony 5 blocks or 4 blocks from the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church says we don't see a thing. Now, is voodoo practiced today? Yes, it is.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes, Voodoo Hoodoo 101. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. NOIVD exists to restore rightful dignity, authority, and global recognition to the Voodoo family of traditions. Our mission, purpose, and the motive behind New Orleans International Voodoo Day, NOIVD, forms a single coherent vision to protect, unify, and elevate Vodou, and Voodoo as living world traditions with deep ancestral, cultural, and spiritual authority. Our mission frames NOIVD not as a festival, but as a cultural embassy for Voodoo worldwide. NOIVD responds to the urgent needs of this moment, a time when voodoo is simultaneously sought after while yet misunderstood and misrepresented. And our purpose unfolds across several dimensions. NOIVD exists to protect the traditions from harm. NOIVD confronts misrepresentation in the media, exploitation by uninitiated practitioners, cultural theft and commodification, historical trauma, and colonial narratives, and by establishing standards of authenticity. NOIVD becomes the shield for the traditions and the communities that carry them forward. New Orleans International Voodoo Day serves as a platform for public teaching, ceremonial demonstration, scholarly dialogue, youth and community education. And this ensures that what the world learns about voodoo comes from real practitioners, not stereotypes or outsiders. And we continue to strengthen international cultural diplomacy through partnership with the Republic of Benin, Haitian cultural and spiritual leadership, New Orleans cultural institutions, and global diaspora communities. New Orleans International Voodoo Day positions voodoo as a legitimate world religion with diplomatic presence and cultural power. And- oh my, forgive me. And we continue to invite your support, participation, volunteership, sponsorship, donations, and support of our ongoing GoFundMe campaign by visiting us at www.vodouday.org, www.vodouday.org. And we're always so eternally grateful for those who continue to support us and show up here live on platform by way of our various independent and collective Facebook pages, profiles, and groups. We're certainly grateful for your participation by way of LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and always thankful for our IG, Instagram participants. Thank you so much for our community here on the ground, hands-on, Daniel Neal. We certainly do appreciate you, as well as in the virtual spaces. Greetings and salutations to you and yours, Ray Alexander. We certainly do appreciate your participation and your support. And our beloved moderator and co-host, the Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, community mother, community activist, community agitator, community resource person, and our faithful and committed moderator. We will be unmuting her momentarily after I do just a little bit of homework. On yesterday, we sort of reintroduced the theme of Afro ecology by way of me sharing what's in my yard. And we discussed the varieties of edible medicinal plants, herbs, fruits in my yard, and some brief notion of the origin stories. So welcome back to Voodoo Hoodoo 101, powered by New Orleans International Voodoo Day. And today we talk again, what's in my yard, the origin stories. Because nothing in my yard is random. Every plant out there has a passport, a migration story, a cultural fingerprint, and a spiritual assignment. Afroecology teaches us that the land remembers. And when you plant something, you're not just growing food, you're growing history, you're growing ancestors, you're growing the story of how we got here. So tonight, I'm walking you again through every plant in my yard, what it is, where it comes from, and why it matters. My banana plant is a whole diaspora unto itself, born in Southeast Asia, carried across the Indian Ocean into East Africa, then into West Africa, then into the Caribbean with enslaved Africans. The sweet potato accompaniment, indigenous to Central and South America, traded across the world before Columbus, grown by African farmers long before Europeans understood its value. And the turmeric, ancient root of India, carried through trade routes into Africa and the Caribbean. This pot is a global conversation, a reminder that our survival has always been international, interconnected, and indigenous. We talked about my cow horn peppers, born in West Africa, the Caribbean, and South America. These peppers traveled with us. They seasoned the survival food of maroon communities. They showed up in every African descended kitchen, from Haiti to Louisiana. The tomatoes are indigenous to the Andes in Mexico. Europe did not trust them. Africa embraced them. The Black South perfected them. And tomatoes are sunlight turned edible. Jalapenos, born in Mexico, a pepper of indigenous agriculture, Aztec foodways, and Mesoamerican fire. It teaches boundaries and clarity. My June bearing strawberries, a hybrid between North America's Fragaria virginiana and Chile's Fragaria chilianos. This is a plant born from two continents meeting. These southern trial garden strawberries fruit once, heavy, like a memory that hits all at once. And the ever bearing strawberries, European descended lines refined in California. These are the hustlers, fruiting again and again through the heat in the early spring and then again multiple times throughout the summer, depending on your climate and the warmth available. They remind me that resilience is its own sweetness. The ever bearing mulberry originated in Western Asia and the Middle East. Mulberries fed travelers, fed villagers, fed whole civilizations, a grandmother tree that gives without hesitation. The pineapple, indigenous to South America, carried to the Caribbean, then to Africa, then to the world, a symbol of hospitality and protection, sweet inside, armored outside. And my kumquat trinity, born in China, kumquats are ancient, citrus, older than oranges, older than lemons. They migrated through Asia into the Mediterranean and finally into the American South. And three varieties, three personalities: bitterness, sweetness, and balance. My ancestral plant, lemon verbena, its ancestral birth in South America, a plant of clarity, lineage, and healing, a keeper of memory. Rosemary from the Mediterranean, a plant of remembrance, protection, and ancestral clarity. Rosemary keeps the doorway clean, keeps the ways open. And my two sages, my round sage grounds and my elongated sage clears, born of Mediterranean and North African origins. Sage is ancient, used in temples, kitchens, and healing houses for thousands of years. And my herbal healers, my spearmint, my yarrow, my sweet basil, um, and my oregano, my leer leaf sage, the spearmint born in Europe, Asia, and Africa. Mint grows wherever people need joy, and it spreads because joy wants to spread. The yarrow, born in Europe and Asia, a battlefield herb used by warriors for thousands of years to stop bleeding, physical and spiritual. My sweet basil originated in India, Africa, the Mediterranean, and the Americas. a global traveler, a plant of blessing and royalty. My oregano from Greece and the Mediterranean mountains, a quiet protector, strong, steady, reliable. And our local regional lyre-leaf sage, native to the southeastern U.S., the Gulf Coast region, a reminder that the land we stand on has its own medicine. Now, the root medicines, turmeric and ginger, born in India, turmeric and ginger born in Southeast Asia. Turmeric is a root of illumination, healing, and anti inflammatory power. I tell you, it's almost like magic, a golden ancestor. And ginger, again, born in Southeast Asia, a root of movement, circulation, and fire, a wake up call, if you will, in plant form. Now, the fruits of fire and sun, my snacker bell red peppers, little mini red peppers, bell peppers from Central and South America, small pepper with a big personality and flavor bigger than its size. My four varieties of African marigolds from Mexico, but embraced and renamed across Africa. Marigolds became spiritual protectors, cleansing flowers, and ancestral offerings. They are the sun's daughters. My very useful and very beneficial citronella, born in South Africa, a plant of boundaries and protection and great mosquito repellent when it is utilized. You can't just plant it, pot it, and set it up on your stoop or your porch or your patio and expect it to do its thing. The leaves must be crushed. So you want to go through and remove daily or frequently the old leaves, the dried leaves, and collect them, or I just sort of lay them down on top of the rock bed just beneath the plant to allow them to crisp up, and then I break them down, in my hands, like a powder, and rub myself over entirely with it when I go out in the early mornings when those hungry mosquitoes are still lurking before the heat of the sun. My root crops and vines, my red potatoes and sweet potatoes from the Andes, the potatoes, the red potatoes, and from Central America, the sweet potatoes. They are survival crops. They store the sun underground. Think about that. And then, as we say here in New Orleans, mirliton from Mexico and Central America, where it's known by many other names, including chayote, a New Orleans classic, a plant that climbs like gossip and feeds like family. And the berries, the cactus, the lavenders, my elderberry, born in Europe and Western Asia, healer of colds, grief, and exhaustion. A wise woman plant, Marge elderberry. My goji berry bush from China and Mongolia, a berry of longevity and daily wellness. Ask your dietitian and your nutritionist about goji berries. And my dragon fruit cactus, it's also called pitaya from Central America, a cactus that blooms at night, a reminder that beauty doesn't need daylight. My English lavender from the Mediterranean mountains. Lavender is calm, breath, and rest. And I also have, I believe, what's called a Gregory sativa, which looks a lot like English lavender, but it's a great deal stronger, much more medicinal, deeper purples, deeper blue tones. Also, very great for warding off mosquitoes by scent. My white mouth dayflower, another local indigenous plant that I discovered almost, randomly by accident, growing up on the opposite side of the fence, near the sidewalk, just out of nowhere, in a patch of grass, with a dandelion and a clover here or there. And then they opened up this beautiful blue flower in the morning, almost like a little bow tie, with a white and yellow face on it, which is why it's called white mouth dayflower. And it's native to the Americas, indigenous to this region. It is a volunteer plant, as it showed up, as my beloved sister Wapani would say, it showed up because I apparently needed it, and a reminder that purpose doesn't always need permission. And so I pulled it up from the root and put it in a terracotta pot, where I've had it for the last year, and it just looks wonderful, 2 or 3 times a day when it opens up. My sugar plant, you might know it as stevia from Paraguay. Sweetness without guilt, pleasure as medicine. And let me tell you what I just found out. That big old bag of Baker's stevia is not entirely stevia. It has other chemicalized components included in it. So if you want the pure 100% stevia, make sure that's what you are purchasing. Otherwise, get you some great stevia plants from Clover's Garden right outside of Chicago, and put some of that in your yard. Very hardy plant. Aloe vera grows almost like weeds here in New Orleans. Almost everybody has aloe vera in their yard or somewhere around their property in the 9th Ward, the 7th Ward, the 6th Ward. It originated in North Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. We know it as a burn healer, great for skin. Our panelists introduced it on yesterday also as an aid in digestion, and it has some nutritional and dietary components. And it's a plant that teaches tenderness after fire. Now, my figs and my holly. My figs are not necessarily original to New Orleans, but are heirloom lineage to New Orleans. Born in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, and Louisiana breeding programs. LSU purple fig. LSU, Louisiana State University purple fig. A daughter with ancient roots. Bred in a program I believe began in the 50s. Disbanded, reestablished more than once. I think the last time was in the 90s, maybe into the early 2000s. So now you can find LSU purple figs available, sometimes at your local Lowe's store, depending on how close you are to the state. And my beloved Celeste, Louisiana fig from the Mediterranean. Both figs believed to have been brought here by early colonizers from Spain and particularly from France. And again, bred them here. They became an heirloom plant here. And the Celeste, the dependable fig, the church lady fig, always sweet, always present, always abundant. And my dwarf Yopon holly, native to southeastern U.S., it's the only caffeinated plant native to North America, a ceremonial plant of clarity and wakefulness. There's another drink. I've never had it, but I believe it's called Yerba Mate. I hope I said that right, which is from South America, a similar family, I believe. But this is the dwarf Yopon holly, native to this region and to southern U.S. Now, the passion and the future and what I have planned for next. Purple possum passion fruit. Somebody said, where does a possum come from? I don't know. Now, I did look up, do they attract possums? And they do. So you don't want your fruit, particularly your figs, your purple passion fruits to fall and hit the ground and get overripe. They get sweeter, they get much more fragrant, and they can draw little critters to your yard. Purple possum passion fruit, born in Brazil, Paraguay, northern Argentina, a vine with flowers like galaxies and fruit like secrets. A plant that reminds me to stay curious. Bred and propagated in Florida, the purple possum passion fruit. And my next plant, herb, tree, and the last plant in my yard is the one I haven't planted yet because the garden is never finished. Neither am I. And the world is our oyster, as they say. There's still plenty of vegetation abounding, and we should be planting, growing, developing, co-oping, sharing, creating networks among ourselves and in our communities uh, for lean times and for useful times. If the COVID didn't teach you anything, it should have put a bug in your ear about this. So again, thank you for walking with me through my yard. Every plant is a story. Every leaf is a lesson. Every root is a reminder that Afroecology is not just something that we have as a part of NOIVD every year at Xavier University. It is not theory. It is active practice. It is land. It is lineage. It is love. And as I bring in my beloved co-host and moderator, the Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, again, I ask of you, I beg of you, keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. What's edible in your yard? No excuses. What's edible, medicinal, useful in your yard? No excuses. The only things that are in the ground in my yard are them red potatoes and them sweet potatoes, except for what comes up naturally. Now you might call them weeds, but you know them lawn daisies. That's medicine. It's also edible. Get some other things that are coming up in your yard that are also medicinal and edible. But everything that I host at the Afroecology exhibit, and 98% of what's in my yard is in containers and grow bags. The beloved Queen Mother, I know you still getting settled in to your new residency. I was thinking about you earlier today, like, okay, did she say, because you know, sometimes I'll be really busy behind the scenes when the podcast is going on and y'all be talking. Did she say she left her plants at the other address and they was in pots? And you just needed help? What say you, beloved? Queen Mother, are you there? I'm not hearing you. Ah,
Oh,
I can hear you
I'm
now.
here.
Greetings,
Can you hear me
greetings.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, I left the plants at the other house and they was in pots. Nobody had a truck to put them in. Nobody wanted them in their car because of the dirt. So the spirit leads me how the spirits leave me. If I left them there, it was for a reason. But Carmen came by today and saw my new lush backyard full of thick St. Augustine grass, and she had all kind of visions. I did bring some of my empty pots. I did bring some of my empty pots with me so that I could plant. But what I wanted to ask you, do you plan on doing any sugarcane or cotton in your garden?
I've done sugarcane in the past. Before I moved, you know, 5 houses down the street from where I was before. I had a little bit more space, and I had two beautifully crafted um, grow boxes that Miss Gloria's Garden, now located in the Ninth Ward, created for me and gifted to me before she moved. And that's what I had my sugar cane in before. Now, if I can locate some organic sugar cane, I may very well, plant some again now, probably in a 50-gallon grow bag, or larger, but 50-gallon would probably be a decent size. I have, which I didn't mention tonight, lemongrass, but it's really young and really new. It's in a 50-gallon grow bag, but I don't know if they could share a bag. So I've considered it. Now, cotton, I've never considered growing. I typically go and let me choose my words diplomatically and carefully. I usually go and harvest my cotton from the region. I'll say somewhere between Louisiana and Mississippi. I usually go and pull up a whole cotton plant, and not to keep it alive, to use it above ground and above, from the flower to the root, in ancestral service, in ritual work and ceremony, and often utilize the cotton in very specific client ritual work and application. So I've never tried to grow cotton. I know it can be done. I know some folk in New York City that grow cotton on the rooftops of some of those tall buildings, but I personally have never tried to grow it. I just harvest it. And there are many things that I do harvest in nature, rather than the space or the complication of attempting to grow it myself. Cattails is something we discussed briefly after the podcast last night in our private chat, which is a plant that's almost entirely edible. Cattails, those brown cigar shaped looking plants,
Yeah, cattails.
near the water.
Yeah, we
And so
used to harvest those when I was young. The brown part is what my mom used to get all the time. It's good to stop bleeding, and it's really kind of like putting cotton balls on something, but whatever else is in it makes the blood clot. And we had a lot of farm animals, and sometimes they would get into fights and stuff. So that's what my mom would put on them to stop their bleeding. My mom was so good with all our many different kind of animals, with repairing them from whatever they got themselves into. But we use those. But I know almost the whole plant is edible except the tail part, as they call it, which is the brown part, the cattail, because that's what it feels like. It feels like fur. And we used to harvest that along the ditches where the crawfish were riding. And I like the way you diplomatically say you harvest your cotton.
well,
I just say I go pick mine off somebody's land
well, I don't want to
between
encourage
Memphis and
anybody.
Mississippi.
Yeah, I don't want to encourage anybody to go out into into the hanging fields, or break the law. These commercialized companies, which now own a
What
great deal
law?
of
What law? What law? It's on the
girl.
side of the road. I go get it.
Yes,
They
indeed.
ain't said all that when we was doing it for free.
Yes, indeed.
So, but when I was a little girl and growing up between the Lower Ninth Ward and New Roads, Louisiana, every summer I had to personally pick a roll of cotton. My mom made me do that for a lesson and what our ancestors had to do. And I'm going to tell you, as a child, I cried because those cotton balls will prick your fingers like needles.
Mm.
And you better not get no blood on that white cotton. My mom was using overseer tactics on me, but she taught me this painstaking truth about what it was when kids picked the cotton and stuff. And when I look at how big that whole cotton area was, and I had a row, and you bent over, and they have modified cotton these days because now the cotton is short for the machines to be able to pick it. But when I was coming up, cotton grew tall. It grew tall, and the kids got the lower cotton balls, and the adults got the higher cotton balls on it. So I still say pick cotton. I have cotton in a box frame that I hang in my house so that we never forget that a lot of our pain was caused by that plant.
Yeah, I have a
That
whole
plant.
dehydrated plant on my ancestral altar.
Yes, I used to have the dehydrated plant, but it got real funky looking, so I just threw it away in my move. But I was plotting out some strategies for my new backyard garden because I have the T poles from a clothesline. They metal, and they perfect for plants like running plants like the melatonin. You say Merlaton. That's the great debate in this city. Is it Melaton or is it Merlaton? But the hanging and cucumbers and stuff like that. And also when you were talking about the tomato and you said that the Europeans didn't trust it, they thought it was actually poison fruit because the leaves look like nightshade and they wouldn't eat it. But also our Europeans, they didn't preserve their food well, and they would eat food that hadn't been refrigerated because there was no such thing at the time, and it would always get a bad like sour taste to it. So one wise man was looking for something to make the food taste better when it was a day or two old and left out all day and night. Um, he made ketchup, and ketchup was used to make the meat taste better, the mutton. The meat tastes better, and that's why ketchup is a condiment today. And that's why a lot of people get insulted if you put ketchup on their food because it has a tradition of its only existence is to make something taste better.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff, but like you said, when it came here in the South, we saw great opportunity with that tomato. Hey, y'all just gave us a gem, but Europeans generally didn't want to mess with it. And when they started coming here as immigrants, it also got a big boost because it made the food taste better after it
And
hasted out.
sometime in the coming days, we're going to do a very controversial topic about food in particular, and particularly what we think is American food or soul food or Southern food. Some people might even think Black food, and how a lot of these food items originated in Europe, and in Germany and in other parts of the world. And as the Queen Mother just said, we just adopted them and made things taste better and look better and last longer and present well. And so a lot of what we assume to be Black food or even Southern food, like fried chicken, for example, did not
Yes,
originate here.
but we made it better. We definitely made it better. There is a great show that comes on a cable channel, the Learning Channel, one of those channels, and it's called The Foods That Built America. And it's very, very good. And you'll be surprised how we came to get some of the things that we eat daily, thinking nothing of it.
Yes, indeed. And we certainly appreciate your continued
Oh,
support.
excuse
And
me.
we certainly appreciate your continued support and participation, uh, both on platform as well as those who are listening and participating by way of our various independent and collective social media platforms, our Facebook pages, profiles, and groups. We're certainly thankful for our national, regional, local, and international listenership and participation, particularly those who speak French, Spanish, Creole, the other languages of our diasporic community. We're certainly grateful for your participation and support by way of LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and always thankful and appreciative for those who tune in from IG, Instagram. Black Sacrifice, we certainly appreciate you. PTSD and What Helped Me joined us. We thank you for your participation. Hank Topless joined. Greetings to you and yours. Dana Lou, we certainly appreciate you. What's Gina Cooking? We certainly appreciate you for listening. Summer Caster joined us. We appreciate you. Dylan Wilson, thank you so much for your participation and support. NOLA 504 Studio Suites, love my New Orleans. We certainly appreciate our local support. Rice to Nice joined us. We certainly appreciate you. Foreign Waste, we do appreciate your participation. 13 Rantaru, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And Mary Man Christine, greetings and salutations to you and yours. We invite your continued support and participation on weeknights, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time on a platform near you, or by way of our QR code at the top left corner of your screen with a little blue ducky head in it, or by way of our StreamYard URL. We certainly appreciate your continued support. And do find us at www.vodouday.org, www.vodouday.org, for always more information, updates about next year's events, how you can join us, volunteer, participate, sponsor, promote, support our GoFundMe campaign. We certainly do appreciate you. We could not have done this for 3 years, now going into our 4th year, without your continued support and participation. And we look forward to another powerful year. And we're so grateful to the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana for your continued support and participation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us again. We offer you divine, all blessed peace and love, joy and prosperity to you and yours. Until next time, remembering that all is truly and indeed a blessing if you could just see beyond the veils, for it is all just an illusion and a test, and one of the greatest divine mysteries of this life cycle. Aibobo, Odabo, and good night.
I would like to say one thing before we sign off.
Take
This
your
year's
time.
NOIVD made it to Billboard. We made it
Yes.
in Billboard. So check out billboard.com and see about our great celebration. They highlighted it. And
Thank you
I want to
so
say
much.
good night to everybody.
Thank you for that, Queen Mother. We certainly appreciate you and that announcement. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
All is well.
everybody.
At the beginning of this, maybe I was more skeptical. As the days have gone on, I'm not sure what I think anymore.
I felt that maybe it wouldn't affect me if I personally didn't believe in it.
So, knowing what you know now, would you still get cursed?
I'm seeking out a curse, a hex to put on myself.
A curse could end your life. You're literally begging the devil to knock on your door just to prove to you that God's real.
He could curse you with stupidity, but we think you've got that down.
Despite the warnings, I'm investigating the real-world effects of dark magic.
Looks like you have a lot of love and a lot of opportunity. You are going to cause damage to that.
How do you feel after doing this?
Evil.
That must be quite seductive.
That's the power you're calling on. The devil, right? Quite seductive.
I'm going to enter into a pact with Satan.
Señor Satán, Lucifer, presentamos a este hermano. Con tu fuego purifica.
Wyong is pretty much the epicenter of all black magic. People are very scared to even talk about it.
Y'all better not call me at 2 o'clock in the morning talking about this man is dead. I don't want to hear that.
I have this physical feeling that something bad is coming. What have I done?
You're going to have to find faith in this in order to undo it.
Five years ago, maybe 7 years ago, discovered that ancestral memory survives in the blood. Something I've always known, and certainly in Voodoo, we've always sort of acted as if we knew. We didn't say it that way, but we're talking to the dead. We're communicating with the ancestors. I got a whole room of dead people living upstairs and, off my bedroom. So certainly through demonstration, we've always understood that. Big Mama, Big Papa, they don't leave you. They're transitions now into another dimensional space. And I am an avid quantum metaphysical student. And I believe it was Einstein that started developing string theory and said that in order for this to be real, we have to be operating in at least 11 interdimensional spaces at once. Time is only just one of those spaces. So we're all time travelers, and we're all moving back and forth in the past, into the future, based on our awareness, based on our training, and I might even say based on our willingness to some degree. You can be blocked enough, fearful enough, to shut down your connection to the spirit realm and just not see. And just be in denial of what's happening, or what I call be earthbound, be so grounded that you can't fly at all. You can't operate in the spirit realm at all.